He can't do it anymore. You know, I remember one of the first times I ever saw Rand Paul speak was at a campaign event for his father. And this was at a campaign event for the 2008 campaign. And I didn't even know Ron Paul had a son. You know, I didn't know it. I was very new at the time, and I didn't, you know, and this was before Rand Paul was even thinking about running for Senate. And he was speaking at one of his father's event. And I was like, oh, isn't that cool? Ron Paul's got a kid who kind of looks like Ron Paul, but younger, and he believes all this same shit, and he's really smart and good on all this stuff. Like, that's fantastic, you know? And he was speaking about how consistent and principled his father is. So Rand Paul was telling this story, and he goes, so Ron Paul was one of the, I believe, 3 members of the House to support Ronald Reagan's run for president in the primary. So all the rest of the other powerful people were against Ronald Reagan, and that he was one of the few who was for him. And Ronald Reagan was up there talking about limited government and all this stuff, and being against socialism and for free market capitalism and all this shit. And so Rand Paul's giving this speech, and Rand Paul goes, do you know how long it took my father to stop supporting Ronald Reagan? And he goes, his first budget. When his first budget proposal. And Ron Paul went, what? No, that's not what this was about. That's not what I was supporting. I'm not supporting this increase in the size of government. You were here because you said government isn't the solution, government's the problem, and I'm walking. And he didn't support Ronald Reagan anymore, and he just criticized him. Okay? So that was Ron Paul, and that was the story that Rand Paul was bragging about when he told his father, look what a great guy my father is. He's really got principles. This is how much he has principles. So he can speak to you. And even if you don't agree with him on everything, you got to respect this guy. He believes what he says. Now, Rand Paul also came in to the Senate preaching this small government message, right? He was part of that Tea Party wave. He became a senator because his father was Ron Paul. That was it. That's the reason why he's there, you know? And what did he say? We're here to take our government back. What was his major issues? You know, aside from like the war stuff and the spying, was the size and scope of government and budgets. And like, this stuff might sound boring to a lot of people, but this is actually the heart of the issue, is power. And government spending equals power, and it equals corruption. And it's what's torn this country apart. It's totally responsible for the culture wars and all of this other stuff. And it might sound nerdy or wonky or whatever, but this is the fucking reality. And Rand Paul was dead right about that in 2010. When he ran and became a senator. And then to see Rand Paul endorsing and supporting throughout Trump's presidency, Donald Trump, who presided over the biggest government in the history of the world, signed every last one of those spending bills into law. And I think every time was like, I really don't want to sign this, but I'll sign it. But this is the last time. And then signed it again and again and again. And Rand Paul's out there just supporting him. So now what can Rand Paul say? What voice does he have to CPAC to push them in the right direction? Well, I mean, we ran this experiment and it's in. He went from winning the poll in 2015 to 2%, just behind Nikki fucking Haley. Nikki Haley, who supports every last one of the neocon policies that George W. Bush and Dick Cheney were all about, that lost this whole country for the right wing to begin with. That's who Rand Paul came in behind.